What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Solo Hoops podcast. My name is Jeffrey, and I'm joined with Ryan today. No Matthias, unfortunately, he is traveling for his birthday, so we were giving him the day off so he can enjoy his birthday weekend where he's traveling down. So best wishes to Matthias in his travels, staying safe out there. But we got a few things to talk about, some new news regarding trade market, some stars asking, and all that stuff, teams, trends. And then, we'll just be going through everything, talk about some of the games today or upcoming games. And we're also going to be doing a 10-game sample size awards. So who has been the 10-game MVP, deploy, all that stuff. But before we get into that, let's first off say subscribe, comment.
Yes, please.
Like, all that stuff. And then, Ryan, how are you doing today? How is this week going for you?
The week overall has been just fine. I don't know. It's been the most mediocre week I can ever remember.
I feel that. I feel
yeah. Yeah. The Timberwolves winning streak is finally over. So that's it's sad. It's sad to see, but also today has been a long day. I had to wake up early for a doctor's appointment, and that just was annoying. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Went and woke up this morning a little early and went to the gym, got a couple hour workout in, doing all that stuff. Gonna make a nice meal for dinner tonight, but after we're done here. But other than that, just been chilling, getting ready for Thanksgiving. Excited for Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah. It's like 6 days from now. It's
yeah,
close.
I know. It's weird. I didn't realize that it was that close until this week. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, it's Thanksgiving next weekend. Ready to eat a bunch of food.
Same.
Excited for it. But anyways, let's get right into the basketball then. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the Chicago Bulls. So there was reports a couple weeks ago that we kind of briefly talked about that teams are kind of just waiting for the Bulls to essentially crumble and fall and blow it up because they have a bunch of guys that they want to, trade for. And they have been horrible since that article came out and those reports. They have been one of the worst offenses in the league over the last few weeks. The defense has just been crumbling, like in big moments, and like the game the other day where they literally had like 30 points at halftime, like 33 points. Like a team with that much firepower should not be scoring 33 points and a half. Like, and giving up like 80, like that doesn't make any sense at all. So yeah. But with that, essentially Zach LaVine in the front office were like, yeah, this ain't working. Like, trade me, essentially. If we're not going to be making moves to retool the roster around me and everybody else here, then just trade me. So yeah. But a recent report came out today that LaVine has been in his representation, which is Clutch. So that we know how that goes. He has a bunch of preferred landing spots. The three biggest ones are the Lakers, Heat, and Sixers. All three of those teams have, shown some interest. And then he also has eyes on joining the Spurs to pair with Vic, which that doesn't make any sense. I think that's just like he likes Popovich. And then also he's interested in going to the Kings because he signed his offer sheet there. He was open to moving to Sacramento and building there a few years ago in 2018. That's like 5 years ago now. So Jesus. But either way, he was open to going there, and now he's what he would go back if they were looking to make a move. How are you feeling about the LaVine stuff?
Yeah, I think what it is that we've known that something like this is going to come for the Bulls for a while. That this core that they're trying to build around and compete with of Zach, DeRozan, and Vucevic obviously has a very obvious ceiling, and that's maybe squeak into the playoffs and you lose in the first round like 5 or maybe 6 games. I don't know, whatever. But obviously we just know that this core, it can't compete and it's going nowhere. And like you said, the noise around a potential blow up is just as loud as ever, and yeah, it's just been interesting to actually think about what could finally start happening, because as a core, yeah, there's a ceiling to this Bulls team, but individually, the pieces on the trade market are like needle moving pieces for many teams that are either trying to break up into the upper echelon of NBA contenders, or maybe a piece that can go to a contender and make them even better, or
Yeah.
stop a lot of the gaps. So
Yeah.
let's start with Zach LaVine, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been the most vocally
Expressed one. Yeah.
expressed about being moved. And before any of the reporting came out about which teams he'd prefer to go to, though, the two that I thought made a lot of sense were Orlando and Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando, because there are obvious shooting issues over there and spacing issues that Zach LaVine fixes. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Prolific scorer, prolific shooter, can attack the rim, freak athlete. He's just kind of everything you want.
Yeah.
Out of a scoring guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought for Orlando, something along the lines of like a Gary Harris, John Isaac, Cole Anthony type deal could have been in the works. We haven't really heard any noise about Orlando since a few days ago, so probably not. Toronto, I thought would have been interesting too, just because of their horrible half court offense as well, and spacing issues. But that's also looking like probably not going to be a potential option. But I think the Kings and the Lakers are two of the teams on that list that I think make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I would like the trade for both teams if something were to materialize.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a couple of potential mock trades that I made on Fanspo a few days ago.
Okay.
And
For LaVine.
for LaVine.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's what I've got for the Lakers, and I want your opinion on this.
All right.
The Lakers receive Zach LaVine. The Bulls receive D'Angelo Russell, Ruby Hachimura, Jalen Hood Shafino, and a 2030 first round pick.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. Does the salary match too on that?
The salary,
You
the
said
Lakers are taking
Rui,
in
D'Angelo, and
Jalen Hood Shafino. In
okay.
this trade, the Bulls take in 36 million. The Lakers take in 40. So
Oh, they're not a second cap team, are they? Oh
they are
yeah.
not.
Okay, so they can take in extras. They can take 110%.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is barely enough
Mm-hmm.
wiggle room in
Yeah.
this case.
Yeah. I would like that trade for them. I don't know how optimistic they would want to be about trading Rui because they really like Rui. But if you're going to go all in for the last year or two of the LeBron AD pairing, I think you would want to do that. I think they might be a little bit more willing to try to move. The problem is you have to give up something of value. Like you can't just salary dump for a LaVine.
Yeah, and I see people trying to throw Austin Reeves in this deal, and I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't think they
on the
want
Lakers
to.
side.
I don't think they
No.
want to move him, anyways.
Mm-mm.
I think a lot of people would want Gabe Vincent maybe in there because he's been pretty rough for them, and he's like 10 million. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like it. I think if you're gonna go all in, go all in. I think the Lakers. This is a star player that fits well alongside these guys.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is you're not fixing one of the biggest issues, which is the perimeter defense. You are getting Vando back, but even then, I think Vando is not a. He's not a perimeter guy. He can be a perimeter guy at times. He can switch there, but he's not a perimeter point of attack defender.
Yeah, you can't just throw him on. I think we've talked about this too in prior episodes, but he's not the kind of perimeter defender where you can just put him in isolation against another superstar and expect positive results.
He can switch there, but he's not going to start off on a wing. I think I would like it. I think if D'Lo's been very up and down this year. And I think if you want some more scoring punch, that's I think this would be the great way to go. Especially because Austin Reeves has been pretty disappointing so far this season for them. I like it. The other team that he's interested in joining that I would actually like the fit on, I would like the Heat fit a lot. And I think you're sacrificing, if you're the Heat, you're sacrificing a lot less in this deal because you can do give me 1 second here. Let's get this. I got Fanspo up. So
okay.
In this one, so Zach LaVine's $40 million. You could literally do Kyle Lowry. And then you would have to find one of the young guys, probably Jovic or Orlando Robinson or something like that. And then you might actually be able to just put on I don't know if they really want to do that. It's hard because they got to make up 11 more million. So the contracts that would fit would be Duncan, but they need spacing so bad.
And with the way Duncan's playing, it's like I think they'd want to keep on to him.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I want to pivot to another guy that's on the Bulls roster, DeMar. I think it would be much easier for a lot of these teams who are looking for scoring punches to get DeMar. The problem is he's not a 3-point shooting scorer, and a lot of the teams that need 3-point shooting alongside other scoring. So, like a Jimmy DeMar scoring centric offense is going to be a lot of mid-range pull up with Bam at the free throw line, like connecting between that, and then it's just like, do you really want to be doing that? That's just not
it. That's pretty redundant because like Jimmy is a mid-range guy. I don't want to call him a mid-range guy, but he likes to get a lot of his points in the mid-range, and he's
not operate in the mid-range to get
to them. Bam takes a lot of mid-ranges on offense. Tyler Hero is a positive. He's a really good 3-point shooter, but he also takes a lot of mid-ranges. Then you add another mid-range shooter to that. That's a bit redundant. So I don't love DeRozan's fit on the Heat as much, and I actually think I would agree that DeRozan is a much more intriguing, or not intriguing, but a scorer that I think more teams who are in the market would get behind, only because he's making $13 million less.
And
on this contract than LaVine, and
it's a 1-year deal.
It's a 1-year deal, right? So teams like the Sixers, who want to keep their cap space for this summer, but are also trying to get an extra scoring punch, I think DeMar DeRozan makes a lot of sense there instead of LaVine. For sure. I do have a trade for Zach to the Kings as well. Because the Kings are also one of the teams on Zach's list of places he'd like to go. And like you said, 5 years ago, Zach signed that offer sheet with the Kings, and it got matched by the Bulls. But there's been a connection there for a long time. But in this trade, the Kings will be receiving Zach LaVine, and the Bulls will be receiving Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and a 2027 first-round pick. Now, this one, I think from the Bulls side of it, I think they'd be a little bit less excited about this one, just because in the Lakers trade, you'd get Rui and Jalen Hood-Schifino, who are like younger pieces who I think could still develop a lot. Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, you kind of know what they're going to be. they're kind of complete players at this point. And if the Bulls are looking to really go full rebuild, which according to some reports is what they're trying to go for.
Yeah, I've heard conflicting things there though. Like I've heard that if they can't find deals for everyone, that it's possible they just trade LaVine and kind of retool for the year.
Yeah.
Which would be stupid, but it's kind of the problem is that the value on a lot of these players for the Bulls are not as high as you would like them to be. Like if they would have done this last year, they would have got more value out of LaVine. They would have got more value out of DeMar. They would have got more value out of Vucevic. They probably would have got more value out of Caruso too, because which we'll talk about Caruso, but like it's really not. You're not going to get a lot of assets back for this, and like, and if I'm the Kings, if I was to make this deal with the Kings, you would have to give me one of your younger guys, and it's like, okay, like, do I want to give up a Davion? Probably not. Do I want to give up a Chris Duarte, who I just gave up assets for? Probably not. I mean, they just drafted Colby Jones. I mean, they'd probably be willing to move him. I mean, he's not even playing for them, really. You're not giving up a Keegan. Like, you're not giving up a Keegan. So, if you were able to give picks up, I would do it. Especially, but it just depends what the Bulls are looking for. I think every team that the Bulls are talking to about LaVine is going to be a different type of package, because this isn't like the Portland situation with Dame, where we want some young players, and we want picks. We want whatever we can get that's valuable from your team specifically, and whatever team is willing to give up pieces that are valuable to us, then we'll take that.
Yeah, which isn't easy too, because Zach LaVine's value on the trade market right now I don't think would match up to how good of a player he is. And that's just because
he also hasn't had that great of a year so far.
No, I mean, he had that 51-point game, but like since then, or other than that, he hasn't really had a lot of great performances, which, it's still early in the season, whatever. But I don't think Zach LaVine's trade value is that crazy high. So I am preparing myself to be a little bit underwhelmed, maybe, by the potential package that Chicago gets back. Then again, like kind of what you said, it all depends on the team, and it's also kind of hard to gauge his value completely. But I definitely do know that I don't think it's as high as a lot of people would immediately think about what a Zach LaVine trade package would be. So it's just a little bit weird.
What about the Sixers, though?
The Sixers? I don't know. I don't really like the fit on the Sixers. Just because I just don't know how viable I don't think you can have a backcourt of two non-defenders. And with Maxey and with Zach LaVine, that's what it would be. Yeah, Zach is I think Zach is an underrated, like, isolation one-on-one defender. But that's only that's isolation defense. Like, yeah, I get it, but it's a small part of basketball. One-on-one defense.
One-on-one defense, pretty much any player in the NBA is not going to get absolutely cooked every time.
Yeah,
because eventually they're just going to miss a shot, or you're going to contest. But it's like they both don't work well off ball defensively, and
he's awful.
Maxey tries, but he's small. He's skinny and stuff. So, I don't really like the fit there. I think that the Sixers are really good right now, and they should just let the season play out and try to retool in the offseason. If Maxey continues this up the whole year, then you have an all-star guard, or a borderline All-NBA guard. And you have a ton of cap space. Go get an OG, go get a somebody.
That's kind of my thing with it too, is like, Tyrese Maxey is your co-star. Like, you don't need
Yeah.
to find a number 2 next to Embiid because the number 2 is already here.
Mhm.
I think if Daryl Morey is going to get involved in moves this trade deadline or in the near future, which I think is likely.
Yeah.
I think he not only do I think this is going to happen, but I think it would be the better option for him to look for more of a defensive role player build of player more so than a Zach LaVine.
I agree.
It just makes more sense, and like the Zach LaVine's contract does not. It's not good for the Sixers either because they've been trying to make cap space for next summer, and trading for Zach kind of gets rid of your cap space.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Let's talk about the other Bulls guy, Caruso.
Yeah, let's talk about him because I think he's the far more. I don't want to say far more interesting trade asset, but I think he's going to be targeted on the market by teams who are trying to win a championship, or who think that if they trade for Caruso, they can win a championship. I don't know if that's the same with Zach LaVine throughout the board, or what am I talking about? Across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if Caruso gets traded to the right team, he can swing championship odds by himself. With how cheap of a contract he's on, for the production that he gives defensively and offensively, I think he's a really good player there too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
I know you like the whole. You can do your Bucks thing because I think that's like an
I
amazing fit.
think. Well, I think that would be the number one contender in the East that would be looking for Caruso, because they need a defensive guard. The young guys that we have been playing well, but at the end of the day, you can't rely on a 22-year-old and 23-year-old to be the only guard defenders on your whole roster, and both who don't have a lot of experience. The problem is the Bucks just gave up all of their assets. So, really what you're looking at is, you're giving up the salary is Pat Connaughton. That's the salary. It's the exact, they have the same contract. You have Portland's second round pick this year that projects to be somewhere between 32 to 34, 35-ish range. Like, it's going to be right off that first round. It really comes down to, are the Bucks willing to give up their swap rights this year?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. You would literally have to give up your swap rights or add and that second round pick, or you're going to have to give up your 2 seconds. If we're giving up, we would have to give up our 2027 second and our 2020 and the 2024 second we hold this year. I would be willing to do it, because I think if this team were to get Caruso, who is an all defensive first team player, next to the offensive engine that has been humming. And I want to point that out. Like, the Bucks have had some struggles this year, but they're currently the number 11 overall offense, but they're like the third best half court offense in the NBA. We have never had that before.
Never. Yeah.
Ever. And if you can add a guy who, Caruso has been shooting the three better this year, and can he can guard 1 through 3, and he can switch on to 4s if he needs to, like if it happens. Like, you put him on the best guard player every night. And this new system we're running, guess what? There's a star big wing on the other team. Giannis is guarding them at the start of the game. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So, and you need that.
They need, like, especially with all the guards out east. Like,
yes,
if the Bucks match up with Indiana, you need someone to put on Halliburton. If they match up with Philly, you need someone to put on Maxey. If they match up with Cleveland, you need someone to be able to at least work against their 2 guards. And like Alex Caruso, like, I think he probably is just as good of a defender as Drew Holiday.
Yeah, or close to it.
or close to it in the year 2023, about to be 2024. Like that's how good of a defensive player Caruso is. So he's a hot commodity with a team like the Bucks. I think it's a hand in glove fit.
What other teams do you think would be they're not going to send him to a bad team, by the way. Like they're going to send him to a good team.
Yeah.
Teams in the East that I could see doing it, if the Pacers believe that they can be a playoff team, they might, because their defense is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
The Sixers, I could low-key see it because we were just talking about the defensive problems.
Yep.
But then again, the Sixers are trying to go big fish hunting, apparently, either this trade deadline or next summer. So do they want to give up their expiring deals and their little picks that they got for Caruso? Maybe. They might. I could see it. But in the East, I don't really see any other teams. I think it said that the Hawks might be interested, but where's the fit there?
I think they'd be.
That
would be a lot
for him and putting up assets to bring him off the bench. Like that just sounds stupid.
Yeah, I don't know about that with the Hawks. Other teams that need point of attack defense.
The Mavs.
But
again, you already have a starting backcourt. You're not starting him at the 3.
Right. I think the Kings could be a good fit for Caruso too, potentially.
Yeah. Kings. The Lakers could call again. But again, are you giving your only asset up for Caruso? The thing is you have to look at is when we talk about the Bucks giving up their last few assets, they have a window that's extended. They have a guy in Giannis, who he's only 29 years old. He's about to turn 29 in December, I think. So, and he is going to be good for the next 3 to 4 years. Okay. You also have Dame, who is older. He's 33. Is that how old Dame is? 33?
Yeah.
Yeah, 33. But he's also a shooting. He's like a top 5 shooter of all time. Like he's not going to be losing. Like you're going to be good for the next 3 years. Like you have a contending window of like 3 years. So you're more willing to give up your assets. If you're the Lakers, are you willing to give up future assets for like really far out assets for a non-star player when you have LeBron James at 39 years old on your roster?
Yeah.
Probably not, especially because AD has been unserious about taking over as the go-to guy on this team.
Yeah, and also it's like if the Lakers are going to make a splash, it's going to be for an offensive player because I think their defense is fine. Like if you have Anthony Davis anchoring the whole thing and you've got guys like Hachimura and Cam Reddish, who's having a great defensive season. Vanderbilt, like we said earlier, I think the defense is going to be fine. We saw last year in the playoffs how Anthony Davis basically shut down the Warriors by himself because of how good of a defensive player he was. So I just don't know if Caruso is the kind of player the Lakers would really shoot for. Then again, I do think Caruso could fit on any team, but another potential team could be Denver.
Yeah. But KCP has looked so good for them defensively.
Right. It would be interesting to see kind of where Caruso does fit with that group. I think by targeting Caruso, that would be kind of the Bruce Brown replacement, right?
Yeah.
With probably a little bit less offense and a little bit more defense. I've been seeing some things about that on Twitter about Caruso and the Nuggets. I
think it would have made more sense last year.
Yeah, I agree, and they would. I don't know who they'd have to give up on the deal, but
it would have to be
like I think a guy like Strother he's looking really good.
Yeah.
I don't really know if the Nuggets would.
Let's look if we can make a trade work. I'm on fence. Yeah, you would have to give up. You would have to give up Reggie Jackson and Zeke Naji.
That's not too bad. I mean,
that's the salary.
Reggie Jackson's been
But the Nuggets
good. And
also are you gonna? The Nuggets have so many. They all have all their picks. God, dude,
yeah,
so stupid. That's so dumb. God, that pisses me off. They're the only team in the NBA that's that good, and they just have all of their assets still.
it's
And the
stupid.
Celtics too. The Celtics have all their assets because Brooklyn just gave them a whatever. Never mind.
Yeah.
Brooklyn gave them a goddamn super team for 37-year-old Paul Pierce and KG. So God, what a stupid trade. You'll never see trades like that ever again, by the way.
No.
Like you'll just never see trades like that again.
Teams are smarter now than they were back then.
Yeah.
Like,
and fans are smarter. Could you
Mhm.
could you believe if what Twitter would be like if right now let's think of a team that's got two old guys that are like a let me think. I'm gonna look at a team. Could you imagine right now if the Warriors traded away like Clay and Draymond for like and a team gave up like 4 first round picks? They'd be like, "What is wrong with you?" Like that would
Yeah.
like that. That's literally what the equivalent of that was. Like, and that's just stupid. But yeah, I think also the Bulls will be looking at the accumulation of assets that they can get from everybody, compared to individual players. I don't think that you're looking at, um, you're getting like Zach LaVine is going to get me 3 firsts. Caruso's going to get me such and such. DeMar can get me like you're like we want assets that are going to set us up as accumulation.
Yeah.
Sort of how the Trailblazers thought about the Dame stuff.
Yep.
And also I do want to point out the fact I think the realistic chance that a team is giving up a first plus more picks and a player, for Caruso is almost 100% not happening. You are not getting a Drew Holiday package for Caruso. I'm sorry, Drew is just a better offensive player overall, and he provides a higher cumulative value than what Caruso is going to provide. You're not getting multiple picks and a player. Like it's just not happening.
Yeah. I think the Bulls would have to probably choose whether they wanted a pick heavy return or a player
Yeah.
heavy return. I think they're going to get, in my opinion, they're going to get a first round pick no matter what.
They're going to get yes,
They're going to get a first round pick no matter what. Whether they get 2 or whether it stays at just 1 depends on the player or players that are involved.
Yeah.
I've I I've been seeing things on Twitter of like mock trades that have the Bulls sending out Caruso for like 2 seconds, and I'm just like that is just not going to happen.
It's just not
Caruso's
realistic.
He's too good to only net 2 seconds. It has to be a first round pick, and then other than that, I think it depends on the team.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said about the Bucks with probably have to offer up swap rights. But
Right.
even then, there's not really that much value in it. I just don't know what team is going to be pounding the table to give up a first round pick right now, like for a career, like a future first, because you're trading him to a contender. Are you getting that much value out of a 2024 first from a contender?
It depends on the team, I think. I mean, it depends on the year too. Like if they
Of the the teams that we listed that would be probably like there, the Sixers, the Bucks, of like contenders. The Sixers, the Bucks, the Lakers, maybe the Suns can't. They have nothing.
No.
Like the Sixers, Bucks, and Lakers, I think are the top 3 teams. Maybe the Nuggets that would be like, let's make this deal. I've seen Celtics talk, but it's like they have Derek White and Drew. Like that, what do they do?
If they were to get the 3 best defensive guards in the game, arguably that would be like unfair. Oh my god!
Even then, it's like, are you trading Al Horford? So
no.
Luke Cornett is playing 20 plus minutes a game for you.
And
are you giving up?
Why would the Bulls want Al Horford?
Are you giving up? And the only other thing they have is, are you giving up Peyton Pritchard? You're literally your entire bench. Otherwise, that's what you're doing. You're filling your bench out with G League players. Just not realistic.
Yeah.
I also thought Caruso only had 1 year on his deal, but he has 2, so that's a plus. That's a plus. Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be also a possibility that a team is willing to give up more. If the Bucks got it, I could see them doing a 3-team trade. I think it's really possible that they could send out Pat, and maybe if they really, really, really wanted to go all in, you could think about trading Bobby as well. I wouldn't be too ecstatic about that because I think Bobby's been playing very well so far this season, but I think that could be a possibility where you're sitting there like, we're trading these two guys. Give me Caruso, and we'll trade those guys out. We'll send Bobby to someone, and we'll send Pat, and we'll get picks to send back to you. And
yeah,
but then you're looking at needing a backup 5 again. Maybe Andre Drummond wants to come up the 2-hour commute. Anyways, let's move on from the Bulls then.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all of the players. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, which would be really stupid, they said that they might be, if they can't get trades for their stars, they'd be open to trading Patrick Williams for play.
No.
That would be the dumbest thing you've ever done. Stupid. I do understand the logic somewhat. There is a logic behind it. Like, we're gonna have to pay him after this year, and if he's not developing, do we really want to be the ones to pay him a ton of money if we don't think we can get him to sign a contract? Like, are we going to be in that position? Maybe we can recruit assets for him. I don't think that'd be a good idea, but it is.
Which other teams are going to pay Patrick Williams like $20 million a season based on how he's playing right now this season? I don't think many teams.
I don't know the cap. I don't know who has projected most cap space. Let me look it up. I don't know. I know the only teams that really have cap are like San Antonio,
Philly.
I think that's like it.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Detroit. I low-key like that. They need spacing.
Yeah. I mean, they might fuck around and offer
Duran, Patrick Williams, front court, kind of fire. Not gonna lie.
And you got Asar, and yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, let me. Okay, yeah, spot track. Okay, the number 1 cap team. Oops. The Wolves are the worst caps. Negative 133 million next year.
No.
Oh my god. Warriors negative 102 right now. Holy shit.
Yeah, they're fucked. And their team isn't even good, so.
Yeah. Never mind. This website is just not even working. Yeah, the Sixers are supposed to be projected to have 74 million. The Pistons, so the top teams, there's actually a decent amount of teams with cap. Philly, Detroit, Orlando, Toronto, Utah, Indiana, San Antonio, Washington, Charlotte. Houston is going to have 27 million next year. Oh my god. I feel bad for the Rockets young players because they're just like, there's so many over there, they're just not going to be able to play.
They're not all going to play, and they're not all going to get paid either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid. That sucks. Ooh, Marcus Smart is expected to miss multiple weeks.
I just saw that like 2 seconds ago. Like 3 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies they're already in the mud, but like, oh man.
Oh god. Yeah, that is rough. All right. What do we want to do next? What do you want to talk about next? You want to do, what are you gonna say? I completely blanking. Do you want to do awards right away?
Let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to be doing the 10-game sample size award prediction awards show. As we should be overreacting as much as possible, because why is it fun to objectively look at basketball in 2023? But we'll get right into it. Who do you want to start? What award do you want to start off with?
Let's start
from like the more boring ones, like
like the less important ones, and we can move up. So, Coach of the Year, I have Ime Udoka.
I also have Ime.
Okay.
The turnaround in culture that he has established has been absolutely nuts.
this one just makes a lot of sense, right? Like the Rockets are if you ask me, they are far outplaying the sum of their parts right now. Yeah, small sample size, but like, we're acknowledging that here. They've been a fun watch, and I have not been able to say that for multiple years at this point. Like since 2020, the bubble. That's the last time the Rockets have been a fun watch, in my opinion. I'm gonna pull up the standings just so I can remind myself what the record is. Yeah, they're 6-3, and they've won 6 straight. Udoka, he just has that team. He has that team playing really well, offensively and defensively. They've just been tight. It hasn't been like one really carrying the other in that regard. They just play together as a unit. Şengün is having a great season. Jalen Green is I think having a better season than the numbers would show you.
I want to revisit that question that we had in the offseason.
Yeah.
About Jalen Green. Do you think he's worth the rookie max this offseason if he keeps up his current pace of play?
Ooh.
Like $200 million for the non-all-star. Like 200.
No, I don't think he's worth the max.
I don't think so either. I think I would be willing to do the 30. I don't think I'll do the 200. But if I could do like the 5 years, like 160 type a deal, I'd be more into that range.
Yeah.
Because the cap's going to jump, obviously. We can't never reflect on a contract the day it happens. Reflect on what you think it'll be in 2 years.
Yeah.
That'll always be what it is. Yes, I agree. You were talking about Dillon Brooks, though, was the next
question. Dillon Brooks, I think, has been just a fabulous addition to this team. He gives them intensity. He makes that team work. He's playing really good defense. I think that I don't think he's shooting the team out of games like a lot of people would think he would be. And they're doing this without Amen Thompson, their 4th overall pick. He hasn't really played at all this season, basically. How is Jabari Smith playing? I haven't really.
I feel like he's been up and down. I think he looks a little bit steadier. I haven't looked at his percentages. Let me look at his percentage. But one thing I do want to say, though, regardless of how the team's playing, just the environment of that team looks significantly better than any that they have over the last few years.
Okay.
I am like blanking on
Jabari Smith. Okay, 48% from the field, 36% from 3. Those are major improvements from his splits his rookie season.
Yeah.
He was a hair over 40% from the field last season. Now he's at 48, which is huge improvement, obviously.
And only taking one less shot.
Yeah. But like reading over that roster, there aren't even a lot of players that really jump off the page. It's just as a unit, they're playing in a style and with an identity that they haven't had really in forever. And I think a lot of that credit has to go to Ime Udoka. I knew when that hire was announced that, polarizing figure, Ime Udoka, but I knew when that hiring was announced, like he's gonna make this team better just by being a good coach. But like 6-3, I would not have thought that. So
yeah, I think I forgot what our exact answers were for the buy sell last week, but I think we all kind of identified like they just look better.
Yes.
Overall, like they just you don't turn the game off after the first quarter because it's so disgusting to watch. Like they aren't playing AAU ball. The one thing I'll say too, I think Fred VanVleet, regardless of how his shooting numbers look and his stats have reflected, I think the impact that he has on the court is not going to be reflected in the analytics or numbers.
Yeah.
But he makes shots when they need it, and a team that has struggled to find offensive consistency in down the stretch games, that is needed. And he also is just although he does have his ups and downs, especially shooting and shot style,
definitely.
he is somewhat of a stable force. They have an actual point guard on the roster that knows what to do.
And that is big. You need an actual point guard if you want to win games.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're in a situation like Phoenix where it just doesn't matter because your talent is just so insane. But you need a point guard if you want to actually be a competent team. Kevin Porter Jr. was never a point guard. They really wanted him to be a point guard, but he just never was. So you could just having an actual point guard and a veteran point guard at that who is an NBA
I can't
champion.
believe they tried to make Jalen Green a playmaker. Like,
yeah,
he's a bucket getter. Like, that's what he is.
Like, yeah, the way I see Jalen Green in my mind is like a Zach LaVine type player, like just bucket getter.
Yes,
but yeah, that's my coach of the year, Ime Udoka. We both have the same one for same reasons.
You want to do most improved player?
Sure. I have Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, I was thinking Maxey or Cam Thomas.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Cam Thomas because I think I hate that it's just like everyone knew. Everyone was like they were trading Harden. Maxey is going to be, and I understand that Maxey has been significantly better than we probably thought he was going to be. I think everyone thought he was going to be like a 20, maybe a low 20s scoring guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Steady presence. The playmaking might improve, but he's been like one of the best guards in the NBA so far this year. Like,
yeah.
bar on.
Yep. That's been my thing with Maxey. It's like, I think we all expected his production to go up in Harden's absence, but I didn't think he was going to be an all-star. And right now it's like, it feels like there's no way he's not an all-star this season.
Yeah.
And if the season ended right now, you could make an argument for him being all NBA. Like,
yeah. I mean, 20, he would be all NBA. If the season ended 10 games in, 27 points a game, 6.7 assists, and 5 rebounds.
He's amazing efficiency.
Yeah, so I wanted to point this out. So last year he took 15 shots a game. And he shot 48% from the field overall. This year he's taking 20 shots a game and he's still making 48. He's still shooting 48% from the field.
Yeah.
And this year he's shooting an extra 3 a game. He was shooting 6.2. He's shooting 7.6 now a game. He's still shooting 43% from 3. Like, his efficiency hasn't dropped down at all.
And it's almost all off the dribble. On movement. It's crazy.
He's not getting a ton of, like, his free throws are going up this season because has the ball more.
Yeah.
But even then, like, he's shooting only 5 a game. It's not like he's shooting like 8 a game or anything. I thought an interesting stat about the Sixers, they're the number 1 free throw shooting team in attempts per game, and they're shooting like 80-something% as a team. Like, they have no bad free throw shooters on the roster. Yeah, that are actually getting to the line at least.
Yeah, Embiid is going to get to the line a ton, obviously.
Yeah, I don't even know how much I want to look it up. How many is he attempting a game? He's been this season he's averaging 10.7. So one free throw less attempt per game than last year. Embiid's been very, very good as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I'm gonna go with Cam Thomas just because I don't want us all to have the same answers down the board.
Yeah.
He's been injured the last few games, but before he got injured, I mean, he's averaging 26 on 47% from the field, 32% from 3, 85% from the line. Like, absolutely insane. It's not like a hyper efficient scoring number, but for a team that has not, that the number one question was who's going to take shots and who's going to make shots for this team. It was like, well, Cam Thomas is doing that. So
yeah,
let's get to it. Like, that's what we're looking at here. So that's interesting. And he it's a 16 point per game improvement right now.
Yeah, I definitely cannot get mad at the Cam Thomas answer.
Yeah,
that dude is a special scorer.
Yeah.
really. Like, I don't think there are a lot of players in the NBA that can score in bunches in the way that he can. At least for at least non-star players. Because when Cam Thomas gets hot, there's not a lot of team can really do about it. He's a definition of a bucket.
Yeah, he's
Definition of a bucket.
He's gonna get a bucket on you like every time.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be the most like ridiculous shot you've ever seen. Like when we played the Nets, like Bucks fans were having a meltdown like on Twitter. I'm like, this is just what he does, bro. Like there's just
does.
Nothing you can do. Like he just gets buckets, bro. He does not care who's in front of him, and he's gonna get buckets. If he can't get past you, he's just gonna take the craziest shot, and he's going to make it. He's going.
Yeah, I love the way his shot looks too. It's like the high arc and the way it's pretty. It's nice.
Yes. Yes.
Other players who I think you can make a case for, Scotty Barnes.
Yes, he's been great. The 3-point shooting has been so good.
Yeah, the only reason I wouldn't have him at the top of my list was because he was Rookie of the Year 3 years ago, which, I don't know. Like, I think one could have predicted this type of development, which isn't really part of the criteria of the award. Like, it doesn't have to be an unexpected breakout. But I guess I like shining more light on the guys who take a larger leap than what was expected of them. Maybe when they were drafted or last year even. So I think Maxi's my guy. Cam Thomas, also a great pick.
Yeah. Giannis is playing tonight, so sorry, I just saw that report, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Cam Thomas for me. You want to do who do you want to do next? Depoy or MVP?
Let's do some of the other. Let's do clutch player of the year, and then 6-man and all that. So we got to do.
We forgot 6. I forgot about 6-man. Let's do clutch player of the year first.
This award is silly, but like I don't know.
Fun. It's a funny award. You know what I really enjoyed last year when it got down to it, and it was like clearly Fox. Like they played like the most fourth quarter games except for like the Heat, and he had like the best field goal percentage in clutch games or whatever. And then like Kyrie had a bunch, and it was like Kyrie fans on Twitter just like, it's Kyrie. I was like, no, it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
I think like the favorite for it is Dame because like he's just like had so many like big fourth quarter point explosions.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Dame. I think he's been like really locking in the fourth quarter as he's been overall struggling on offense to start the season. But in the fourth quarter, he's just been electric.
Yep.
Another good choice is probably Luka. They've had a lot of close games, and he's had a lot of plays where it's just like, what the hell?
That's probably I think the pick I'd go with. Luka. He's just been unreal in the clutch, and the Mavs have been in a lot of clutch games, and they've won all of them. A big part of that is Luka. Like I think about that one shot. I think it was against Brooklyn, where he's probably like 35 feet out, and he just sidesteps and just whips it, and it's like, oh my god, like this is stupid.
It is stupid.
I'd probably go Luka. I think Anthony Edwards could make a run for it. Even though a lot of his late game turnovers and stuff haven't been that great, but like he's also had a lot of fourth quarter moments too. Like as much as like I think it's also a big part of this award is not only like the clutch time stats, but also like De'Aaron Fox also had like multiple game winners last year, like the one against the Magic where he pulls up from half court, or the Bulls in United Center, he just pulls up like it's nothing. You got to have moments too, and Ant has had a lot of moments, but probably not the best actual clutch time stats when you look at him. So, this award is funny, just because like
it's hilarious.
It's so new, and people don't.
Is there any other stupid ones that they've added?
Like they've added.
Who's NBA Teammate of the Year?
It was Mike Conley last year. I'm sure of it.
I feel like he's won it a bunch.
Dude, he wins it all the fucking time.
I know Drew won it a few.
Yeah.
I would, if they wanted to add another one, I would really like if they did do like a comeback player of the year, like the NFL does.
Yeah, that would be cool too.
Yeah.
I also think that defensive rookie of the year would be a cool one too, because a lot of times rookie of the year just goes to the rookie that averages the most points.
Mm-hmm.
But I think defensive rookie of the year could be a cool way
Yeah, I think
to
it's a
shine some
little
more
bit
light.
hard because we associate the level of player that you are with your level of two-way ability.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a little bit weird, but I don't dislike it.
Yeah. I just
Like
think it would be a cool way to shine some
yeah.
more light on
Yeah,
defensive
it would be like
rookies.
a rookie DPOY award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which would be a Sar Thompson.
Yes.
All right, let's do six man. This one's hard. I guess
This one is really hard. Yeah. Six man is I feel like that's one of those awards where there isn't really any candidates until way later in the season.
yeah, because you don't
Um,
know how the starting lineups are gonna.
yeah, like rotations are still changing always for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just, you know, it depends. I think right now Tim Hardaway Jr. has been averaging a ton of points off the Mavericks bench. And this award is also historically a points award. Like you just got to be on the bench and score a ton of points. And Tim Hardaway Jr. has done exactly that. I think Naz Reid has gotten some buzz for this award as well, even though he's kind of cooled down after his super hot start.
Yeah.
Guys like Emmanuel Quickly, I kind of expect to be in the running again.
Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis, that's a great one.
I hope Bobby wins it. He deserves
like,
to win it, bro.
Yeah, I love Bobby. He's
That's why, like, I know that, like, that's why I just don't want to trade him because I just love him. Like, he's just like he's everybody's favorite role player in Milwaukee. Like in the city, like everybody loves Bobby so much.
Bobby Portis to the Bucks is like what Naz Reid is to the Wolves in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's like the same.
Naz Reid, like the Naz Reid meme taking over. I've seen it so much more over the last few months, like weeks too. Like since the season started, I've been seeing it so much more.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize that this is the Bucks tenure for Bobby has been his longest tenure on a team.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Bobby revenge game against the Bulls whenever he plays them, just know he's gonna do this. He's gonna just be absolutely ridiculous.
That's another like NBA thing I forget about, like Bobby Portis punching Nico Mirotic.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, if Bobby plays a team that he used to be on, he's gonna go crazy every single time.
Yeah,
because he just hates them. He uses it to feel them. But yeah, I think six man of the year is so hard 10 games in because you don't really know. Another guy who I don't think has started a lot of games. Let me double check. Is Buddy Hield. He hasn't started a single game this year. His scoring's been down a lot, but he's still shooting like 37% from three on 7.8 attempts and giving you good minutes. I'm really sad that he's not starting. A team that needs spacing could get Buddy, like a contender that needs spacing.
They would pay a lot for that. Yeah.
It sucks because he's literally only on the bench because they signed Bruce Brown for a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah. What about Westbrook for six man of the year? A thing came out today saying that Westbrook requested to come off the bench.
The problem with that is he's started games so far. So I'm not. If it's a 10-game award, he's started all 10.
That's true.
So,
but I guess this is like my projecting from
if
after
he's
this.
Really good, if he's really good this year for the rest of the year, I could see him winning it.
And he's off the bench, Westbrook. That would be so fun from MVP to six man of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe they used to say he's a bad teammate.
It's ridiculous. Like every NBA player who's ever played with Westbrook, the one thing that they will always say about him is that he was an awesome teammate, awesome person, awesome leader every single time.
Yeah. I think everybody and just loves Russ.
Yeah.
So the next one then would be Depoy.
Yeah.
Rudy
I think
Gobert.
I think it's Gobert. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
People
Wolves
aren't gonna like it, bro. If it happens, people are
gonna
gonna hate it, bro.
people are gonna hate it. It's so people are gonna absolutely hate it. Yeah, the Wolves have been one of the best defenses in the NBA this year. I think they're number 2 right now, but they were number 1 the first 3 weeks. So they're just an elite defensive team. Gobert
their
is
rating for the first couple weeks was like 99.
Yeah, it was crazy stuff. Since then they've let some opponents score a lot against them. Like the Suns rack up 130 on them, which is like crazy. But yeah, Gobert has been the main anchor for that defense. I also think that Bam deserves credit too, because Bam's been playing amazing this season on both sides of the ball. He never gets the defensive player of the year love just because it feels like there's always someone who has a better defensive season than him.
And his stats do not.
Yeah, and his
defensive stats are never going to be the counting ones.
Never, right? You really have to watch a lot of small stuff on the defensive side in Bam's game to really get an appreciation of how good of a defender he is. And not to say the award voters don't do that, but having blocks and steals, it really does help your case, as we saw with Jaren last year. And I'm not going to say Jaren's a bad defender, but like the 3 blocks a game looks sexy on a Depoy resume. So definitely contributes.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Then for MVP.
Yeah.
Then,
who do you got?
This is hard, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think the easy answer is like Jokic again.
Yeah.
Even then, Jokic has had some rough games. I'm not gonna lie. Like he had the game where he shot 8 of 23, and then everyone posted best in the world after that.
Yeah.
He's also had some really bad turnover games. Like he had multiple games where he had like 8 turnovers, which is really weird. I think you could go with the Boston, like Tatum, but I think Tatum has had bad games, and I think that they've been winning games because of the collective rather than him.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'll probably say, I think if we're gonna say MVP and who's carrying the most load overall, which I always am like that. For me personally, the MVP, I like to favor like over exceeding expectations up to this point, and also the load that you're carrying.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna say Luka. I think.
Okay.
Like, let me look at his full counting stats. But for me, like, I don't think everyone said that they were going to be a mid team again. And they're one of the best teams in the NBA so far.
Yep.
They're 9-3 right now. He's averaging 38-8 on 50, 40, 76 from the free throw line. So like that's just nuts. It's nutty stuff.
Yep. And I was wrong about them, the Mavs. So far, I was very wrong about the Mavs. So
he did have a bad game earlier this week against the Pelicans. He had like 8 turnovers, but
yeah. But that was after like a game against the Clippers where he just was unstoppable.
Yes, exactly. The Clippers game, he had 44, 6 and 6.
Yeah, just
with 1 turnover.
Crazy.
Yeah, a plus 32 in that game. Yeah, it was yeah. I think also the surrounding pieces of him he's elevating them right now.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to think otherwise.
Yeah, Grant Williams getting open shots from Luka is like, yeah, he's gonna. Everyone benefits from that. Derek Lively as the big, like,
Derek
yeah,
Lively. Shout out Derek Lively, man. I said from the beginning of the season, I said he should be the starting center. If he does have growing pains, let him work through them as a starter.
yeah,
They are letting him get run, and he is good. He has been very good.
yes, yeah. For MVP, I think I might go Embiid, personally. And
Yeah.
yes, Maxey has been all NBA, like we've just said. Um, but again, Embiid is just dominant. Um, and the Sixers really just go as far as Embiid is willing to take them. 32 points per game. That's number one in the NBA. Nearly 12 rebounds a game. Nearly 6 assists per game. A steal. Nearly 2 blocks a game. And just every night it feels like another dominant performance. That game against the Wizards, that third quarter especially, when I think he had like over 30. One of the singular best quarters of basketball played by any player this season.
Yeah.
The Sixers have far exceeded my expectations as a team. Um, they're 8-3 right now. They play against the Atlanta Hawks tonight, which is a matchup that I think if Embiid does play, he's questionable. If Embiid plays, I think he's gonna destroy that team.
Do we have word on that? I gotta get to underdog. The
Yeah.
underdog account. Hey, shout out the underdog account for tweeting out all of the injuries. Because they tweeted it out immediately. Oh,
Yeah.
yep. Here we go. All of them are playing. Jose Alvarado, Caruso, DeMar, Derrick Rose. Kristaps available, Jaylen Brown available. They haven't said anything about Embiid yet. I'll look if I can find anything. Yeah, it's they've definitely exceeded what I thought they would be.
Yep.
And I think Joel has taken somehow in this is something that I want to speak on. Although the Sixers and Embiid, that we can clown on them and criticize them for the playoff stuff, but at the end of the day, Embiid is a top 5 player in basketball, and he is one of the best scorers in the NBA, bar none, and he's one of the best defensive players in the NBA, and he took a step playmaking wise this year that has really impacted and opened up the ability. It really does remind me of 2021 Giannis, when after the wall and the Heat, the back-to-back years with the Raptors wall and then the Heat wall, he's like, I need to learn how to pass better out of doubles and out of triples.
Yeah.
And 2021, the playoffs, they couldn't do that anymore because he was playmaking at a crazy high rate because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made him like the best player in the NBA. And if Embiid can take that step and they can work through the playoff struggles a little bit more, it's going to open up people's idea of who Embiid is, because I think there's a lot of disrespect about the level of talent that Embiid actually is playing at.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yep. And I know it's early on and this might seem reactionary, but this feels like if there's going to be a year where the Sixers finally get over the hump, especially if they make a trade for like a Caruso or OG at the trade deadline, this year just feels different with the Sixers. Like they don't have any James Harden or Ben Simmons nonsense, casting a shadow over the team.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a new coach in Nick Nurse who, I think has shown that he's able to win a championship, and be a good playoff coach, which Doc Rivers he hasn't showed that in a long time.
Yeah,
it just feels different with this team. And you've got guys like Kelly Oubre who, super unfortunate. The the accident that he was involved in last weekend. But if he can fully recover and if he can play close to the level that he was playing at before the accident, I think that's a huge needle mover for the Sixers as well. Tobias Harris, we got to give some love to him because he has really been playing good this season too. He's been more decisive with the ball, been a better defender. He's still shooting it. He's still doing some stuff off the dribble. This Sixers team just feels different. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this team goes as the season continues to move along because I think this team is already way better than I thought they were going to be. And I'm really enjoying the vibes from this group right now.
Yeah, it is good vibes. And I also want to give a shout out for Coach of the Year to Nick Nurse. I think he's changed the entire way that they've played basketball, and it has been beneficial to the team as a whole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right. So
I think that's all the awards then.
Yeah. Okay. So we've still got some time probably to go.
Yeah.
We can just kind of talk about random NBA happenings.
Yeah.
We mentioned Bam a little bit earlier in the Miami Heat, but I think we could talk about them a bit more because they have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. No pun intended. And that's with Jimmy Butler still. I mean, he's come around as of late for sure. Sort of figure it out a bit more and get back into a good, normal Jimmy Butler rhythm. Tyler Hero has missed the last handful of games, and the Heat once again are just doing just fine without him. A lot of their guys like Haywood Highsmith have really dialed it up this season as far as defense and just being an overall contributor. Duncan Robinson is like a inside the arc threat now, which is crazy because he just used to never have a bit of an impact in there. And obviously Bam, I think, has just been he's been playing the best basketball of his career so far. And I mean, what can I say? The Heat are just being the Heat, and they're winning, and they're grinding out these games. And they're also a team that in the regular season it's kind of just is usually a hard team to watch, and they usually they fall around 44-ish games depending on the year. But right now that they've been playing on a better pace than that. So, like, what do you think about the Heat? Do you think they might slow down at all, or
they're gonna slow down? I think you're just. Let me pull up their last few games. So, their last few games. Their last game was against the Nets. They won by 7. Hornets, Spurs, they played the Nets, Hornets, Spurs. This win streak: Nets, Hornets, Spurs, Grizzlies, Hawks, Lakers, Wizards.
Yeah.
So really, they're on a really good win streak, but they've also played to the 1, 2, 3, 4 of the worst teams in the 4 worst teams in basketball outside the Pistons. They won by 1 against the Lakers. They beat the Hawks by 8, and they beat the Nets. But it's you're playing not the greatest teams during it, which I'm going to give them kudos. Winning 7 games in a row is hard as hell. I'm not saying that that's not good. But you're grinding out games with it's taking everything that they have from up and down the roster. And I just don't think that's a sustainable way to sustain basketball. It's kind of the same thing that was happening at the beginning of the season for the Warriors, which we're going to talk about in a second. But if you're taking up to your 8th or 9th man playing like really high level, like all of your players playing high level basketball every night to have a chance to win games, that's just not sustainable realistically. But you never know. If there was a team that I would think that needs an offensive punch, that would be should be aggressive, but we know how Pat Riley is. It should be them. They need an offensive push. Tyler Hero's hurt right now. You can't. If you think you're a contender, please just be aggressive. Because I've also seen some reports, and I wanted to talk. I forgot to talk about this. I meant to say this during the trade part about the Bulls. Zach Lowe was on his podcast, and he was talking about how there might not be a lot of teams that are clamoring over Zach LaVine, DeMar, Vucevic, because Donovan Mitchell might be available next year. Teams have been doing this now. There's multiple teams in the NBA. The Heat are one of them that have been doing this for years now. Okay?
Yeah.
Make the trade when you can. Okay? This year, this summer, I will give them the benefit of the doubt with the Dame stuff. They were like, Dame is going to request out. We would rather bet on Dame than get Beal, which we're going to talk about Beal too. But we'd rather do that. We're comfortable with what we have, but we want to upgrade. But we'd rather have Dame we would rather take a chance that Dame is going to be able to come here than get Beal, which is like, okay, that makes sense. You don't know that Donovan Mitchell is going to want out. That is 7 months away. He could sign his extension the first day in summer as soon as the season ends. And your plans would be nothing. This team is not built for right now is not built for sustainable winning. I don't think they are the Heat. They will always find guys to win games with. But like, you are not like the young team. You are not the Kings. You are not the Thunder. Win now. Stop pretending like you're not in a win now situation. Be aggressive. Get the players.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. But
yeah, I agree with a lot of that for sure. I think the Heat still are a piece away.
I just don't think they have the firepower.
Yeah, and we also do say this every year with them that they might be lacking some firepower,
and they always run out of firepower.
I mean, last year, the playoffs,
they got to the finals and they ran out of firepower.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it is.
I'm not saying that they can't make a run. I will never underestimate this Heat team. Okay,
I can't do it either.
But I'm at the point where it's like, even if you go to the conference finals, go to the finals, you just don't have the thing. Like, you've done that already. You've made the run. Like, yeah. I'm gonna loop 2019 when the Bucks made the Eastern Conference Finals. They were like, that's a good team, but we need more. But we don't. There's nothing to get right now. 2020, we get wiped in the second round. We need more. We are getting wiped. Trade for Jrue Holiday. Win championship. You can make all the runs you want, but eventually the runs don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Unless you get the hardware. Like,
yeah,
you have to get the hardware. Like, no one remembers that. Like, no one cares that the Cavs made the finals from 2015 to 2018 if they didn't win in one of those championships. They'd just be like, wow, you were just making the finals for no reason.
Yeah. I do think the Heat are at the point where they would like a ring to show for it.
Exactly.
With all this. But yeah, I just think that, like, man, like, them missing out on Dame, it just stings.
It doesn't sting me one bit.
Doesn't sting you one bit. It doesn't sting me one bit either, because I am not really a Heat fan like that.
Yeah.
I just don't really mess with the Heat, but I'm gonna give them their credit. Like, I just think they've been a really solid team this year.
You have to respect the team.
You have to respect them. I think they've impressed me. They've just grinded out these wins like they always do.
They do have a rough stretch of games coming up soon.
Yeah, that'll be a test for them to see how solid this team really is.
They do have Bulls, back to back. So tomorrow and so Saturday and Monday, Bulls, Cavs. But then it goes Cavs, Knicks, Nets, Bucks, Pacers. Like, and it's just a team where it's like they're on a 7-game winning streak, but like you're like they could very easily go on like a 3-4 game losing streak. You know, and
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of the situation for them.
Yeah.
I want to talk about another team that's been trending, but in the opposite way. The Golden State Warriors.
Ooh.
They're on a 5-game losing streak. So they started off 6-2, and they have lost 5 straight. They are 5. Didn't I say that it would be hilarious if it flipped ways, if they were really good on the road, but really bad at home? I'm pretty sure I said that. They're 1-5 at home this year and 5-2 on the road. And I think that's hilarious. The Chris Paul thing is working for what they needed it to work for, provide stability on the bench and create consistent play.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense is absolutely brutal right now.
It's really bad.
If Curry isn't dropping 30 plus on 50, 40, 90 splits for that game, they're losing.
Yeah.
Like every time. Clay's had a really bad year. Draymond is doing a bunch of antics instead of just playing. Like they need him to be providing court value, not like on the court numerical production. That is what they need right now. Wiggins has been brutal, just absolutely brutal.
He sucked this year.
Yeah,
he's absolutely sucked. They do not have a scoring option outside of Steph Curry right now.
And you can, one thing, you can kind of see that the Curry the Steve Kerr motion Steph Curry off ball system is really great when everything else is humming well, when you have Clay shooting very well, when you have another guy who can get a bucket, when Draymond is playing really high level IQ basketball. When those things start to break down, that system doesn't look that great. And I think that's one of the reasons why people will be like, well, why don't you just run like a Warriors type system? Lots of DHOs, blah, blah, blah. You know how hard it is to have the personnel for that? There's one team in the NBA that does that, and it's the Kings.
Yeah. It's really hard to do their Warriors thing, like you said. And if you don't have Wiggins as a consistent option,
scoring, yeah,
that really hurts you. And on defense, he's bad, and rebounding, and passing, and everything. Wiggins is just he's been bad. Clay has not found a shot this season at all. And unfortunately, due to injuries and age, he just doesn't have a lot of other things in his game that he can always hang his hat on if the shot isn't falling. Because I don't know if he can, find a groove on the defensive side of the ball that can carry over to offense anymore. The rim pressure isn't really there how it used to be either with Clay. He's just having a rough start of the year. Chris Paul can give you quarters at a time of him looking like Chris Paul.
Yeah.
He can also give you quarters at a time where he looks like a shell of Chris Paul. Where he's just like in his ultra game manager backseat type thing where he's not even looking to score really. And that's contrasted with Jordan Poole last year is a big scoring vacuum that they had last year. Now they don't have this year all the time. And Draymond can't stay on the court. He's just, embarrassing himself. And now Steph has like a knee thing. I think he's going to miss a few more games. This team just can't win if Steph doesn't play. And even when Steph does play, they have a hard time winning games. So it's been rough. Moses Moody has had a good season for them. Podziemski has had a really good season for them, especially the last week against the Wolves. He had 2 big games. and against the Thunder. I think last night he had a big game as well. But it's not looking good over in Warrior Land, really.
No, it is not.
It is not. No Draymond also for the next 4 games due to the suspension. So I don't know. I was higher on this team coming into the season. And I feel like they've dropped a couple tiers for me. Like I'm not at all confident in this team anymore.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was a little bit hesitant about the team, to be honest, and I kind of feel like I got convinced otherwise, and I should have just stuck where I was. I think towards when the season started to creep up a little bit, I was a little bit more negative. I started being a little bit more negative, like maybe this isn't gonna work out the best, because I did have the thought process, and I didn't think it was gonna be this big of an issue, but like, where is the outside offense coming from? Like, you just can't have sustainable winning and contending team without like a second offensive player.
Yeah.
And Moody is not taking the steps to be that. Kuminga is not taking the steps to be that. Draymond, it just looks like he's completely regressing for the right now. And it just doesn't look like it's really that, like it's going to be working out for them.
Yeah, and
I think they could look to buy on one of these guys too. We didn't talk about it, but I think there's a chance that you could be buying on. They could be buying on a LaVine, DeRozan, something of that matter.
Yeah, I was like, in my head when I was watching the game against the Wolves, when it was just like, okay, this Warriors offense is horrible. I was like jokingly in my head thinking, what about DeRozan? And then as I thought about it more, it's like, it actually doesn't make zero sense. Like, DeRozan does not fit that system at all.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be desperate for scoring.
Let me look at what their asset pool is. They don't have their pick this year. I know that.
No.
But they're gonna. Pool, they need to be. They need to be. Your 2 timeline thing isn't working, so just go all in. It's just
that's what I think too.
It's not working. It wasn't. Everyone knew it wasn't really going to work.
If you still
so they have their
20 years of Steph Curry, like, you've got to make the most. You got to make the most out of it. So
you have a 2025. They have all of their picks through 2030. They don't have their 2030 actually. Sorry. So they have their 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29 first. So they could make a move if they wanted to do 2025 and 2027 firsts. It could happen, and you could just do like a Wiggins and a Kuminga, maybe. I don't know. LaVine would be hard. I think you don't need to worry about the spacing as much if you're the Warriors. I think if you, with how bad Wiggins has been, I think if you could get a Wiggins package for DeMar, I think you'd do that.
Yeah.
I think you'd do that.
I agree.
I think they would have to move another guy. And other guys are win now guys. I don't know if they're really going to be willing to move a Kuminga or a Moody, because even though they haven't been what they thought they could be, I don't know if you're going to want to move one of your young guys just to throw in, especially if you're giving up picks. I think DeMar, you might only have to give up 1 pick, honestly. Like, if you were them, would you give up a 2026? Would you? Because you can't give up your 24, your 25. So would you give up a 26 first?
Yeah, I would. I think their scoring situation is that dire right now, to where
it really is. Yeah, and like you're looking at a package here. DeMar is $28 million. You have to make the salaries match exactly because of how much cap hell the Warriors are in.
Yes.
But you would have to make up about another $5 million if you wanted to do a Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, $7 million, but I don't think you're going to want to do that.
No.
So I think it would probably be Gary Payton, or you would have to give up Moody or Kuminga.
Yeah.
And if I was a team like the Bucks, let me get Gary Payton. I'll throw in some salary filler. Let me give you Pat Connaughton. Because what is the Bulls really value for Gary Payton going to be? So, I would like, I wouldn't mind that, honestly. I think the only trouble is the Warriors going to be able to adapt to having a guy like DeMar on the roster? Maybe. I think that they have to adapt. If they don't adapt, they're not. It's over. It's honestly over. You don't have prime Splash Bros backcourt anymore.
No.
You don't have prime Draymond anymore. And if you don't be realistic about where your roster's at, and the systems and the type of basketball that you need to run, it's just not going to work out. Like DeMar can play within that system, I think. But also it's like, okay, like we're gonna give him some ISO touches. Let's let him get some scoring punch in there, and run some offense, which I wouldn't mind. And I think the Bulls would, honestly, if you're getting the Warriors pick for 2 years out, you don't know where this roster is going to be at in 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, I think Warriors picks are valuable. If they're 2 years out, for sure.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that. That's a good move. But it would be interesting to see what they would be willing to get rid of. Because I think if you're trading Wiggins, I don't know if you want to trade your only other good perimeter defender.
Yeah,
Chris Paul's been okay on defense this year, but
he's
not
old.
Great.
He's old.
Yeah, he's just old. He's 38.
That's old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if you got any other teams or stuff you want to talk about.
Yeah. What about the Clippers?
Oh yeah, we need to talk about the Clippers.
Yeah.
They've been horrible since the Harden trade. Absolutely brutal. I was wrong in every capacity of what I spoke on this trade. I'm gonna try to find the stats that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah. So Clippers on and off stats: Westbrook plus 12 and a 12.7 when as a team, plus six for him when he's on the floor, -6 when he's sitting. Harden right now is a -32 team plus minus, -20 when he's playing, plus 12 when he's off the court. Absolutely brutal.
That's really bad. Yeah.
Yes. Ooh, up. Yikes. And that was just because of last game where they were a little bit better. Before last game, -34.
Mm-hmm. Last game against the Nuggets was like, you could tell they looked like they were trying for that game, which you couldn't have really said for all the other ones. And they came close to tying that game at the end. Did you see Paul George? His game tying
got
3.
wedgied.
It was wedgie. That's a sad way to see your shot miss. But yeah, this team has sucked. They've looked really bad. They play against the Rockets tonight, a team that has been playing much better than they have. So there's an opportunity for this Clippers team to move to what, 0-6 in the Harden era?
Let's look.
Something like that.
They are right now 3-7.
Yikes.
Yeah, 6. No, they're on a 6-game losing streak right now, so it'd be 7 games.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they were 3-1 when he got traded there. No,
I think yes, I think so too. Yeah,
yikes.
it's been a horror movie.
It's been brutal.
Clippers.
And I think the biggest issue is they are like, every player like Kawhi and Paul George are like trying to reinvent what they're doing on the court because Harden's there, and it's like the reason Harden would work is because he can do the stuff that you guys can't.
Mm-hmm. Kawhi has to be Kawhi.
Yes, Kawhi is like like he's I think I don't remember the exact stat, but he's like it's like over like it's like slashed in half his amount of like pick and roll as the ball handler.
Yeah.
Paul George is like, yeah, I don't need the ball. Like I'm gonna let them do their thing. Like I'm gonna be a glue guy.
No,
What? What are
that's
we
not what
doing
that's
here?
Kawhi and Paul George need to be the same. Um,
Yes.
they need to play their game. And I was giving Westbrook his praise for wanting to come off the bench, but I think Harden should be the one to come off the bench.
They won't
Um,
do it. They won't do it.
they won't do it, and I know they won't do it, which annoys me. But they were playing good with Westbrook as the lead guard on that team.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing really good. They had a fun energy to them, and it's not all because of Harden, right? I think the rest of the team hasn't done a very good job to complement him, and make the fit good. But yeah, the teams it doesn't look as good with Harden as their point guard. And if it was up to me, I'd bring Harden off the bench for a while to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But I guess Westbrook will be coming off the bench for the foreseeable future unless things happen or change. But yeah, this team is a hard watch. And like I said, the Nuggets game was the first game I saw from this group where it actually looked like I don't know, inspired. The team looked inspired. Um, but yeah, just really not good. Maybe playing the Rockets will give Harden some juice, but you never know.
Yeah. They're clamping that. Dylan Brooks got us. I do want to. Yeah, I just wanted to be like, and also like Bones Highlands now completely out of the like is not expected to be in the rotation much.
Which is also so weird.
Like, and then Bones
I don't
Highlands
know.
said like at like put like a cap emoji
Yeah.
on Twitter to that report, but it's like, where are you playing? Where is his minutes at? You're staggering Harden and Westbrook now, especially since Westbrook's coming off the bench.
Yeah, and Terrence Mann and Norm Powell, they're still going to play, right?
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. We'll see tonight, I guess. We'll see how much opportunity Bones gets. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah. It'll
that
be
team
interesting.
and
Interesting.
Zubac hasn't looked good either since the trade.
No,
He's looked worse, which is weird. This team, it's been
a
really
pick and
weird.
roll merchant is worse with Harden. That's crazy.
Yeah, and like there's noise about Ty Lue maybe not being the right coach for this team. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
know a
it's
lot
not
of
going
Clippers
great.
fans too have not been a fan of Ty Lue for a little while because he's like obsessed with 5 out, and
Yeah.
he does, which I can understand a little bit. But he is a very good coach, no matter
Yes.
what. Yeah, should be interesting. Well, let's right before we get off. So we are recording this on Friday the 17th. So we can look back at this, but everyone will see it tomorrow. But I want to do a little bit of pick 'em for the tournament games tonight.
Why not? Let's do it.
So yeah, let's do it. So we got Bucks Hornets starting at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, 7 p.m. Eastern. Bucks. Giannis is playing. Dame is playing. Everyone's playing on the Bucks. I do not know if there. I know there's a couple guys out for the Hornets. I know Brandon Miller is expected to play. LaMelo. I think it's like Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
Let me look up the exact. So I have the Bucks one, but Gordon Hayward is playing. Mark Williams is playing. So Cody Martin isn't playing. Book Knight, Ntilikina, and Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Bucks here. Giannis, Dame,
same.
Chris.
It's an easy choice for me too. I'm going the Bucks. Over the last 10 games, the Hornets have had the worst defense in the NBA. I just don't think you can win a game.
I need us to stat pad. I need this defensive rating to keep going up because I'm sick of talking about it.
Yeah.
This is also a good team to be able to attack the boards because although Mark Williams is very good, it is their other center depth and their guards are not crashing the boards like
no
like other teams are. They're not a great.
So Bucks, easy.
Yeah. Next game is Knicks Wizards. I believe everybody's playing on both teams.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's. It looks like pretty much everyone's playing.
Yeah, I'll pick the Knicks here too.
Yeah. Another Group B game. These are both Group B games.
Yep. East Group B. Yeah, I think the Knicks are just the easier pick here. The Wizards have been bad.
Ruby Rose is in DC tonight. So
Jordan Poole. Man, I'm rethinking this now.
Did you see the Jordan Poole clip where he's like in the huddle and he's not like paying attention to the board, and then he goes out there and he's like trying to. He doesn't know what the play is. The Wizards are a hilarious team.
It is hilarious.
Our friend Shub is a Wizards fan, and he live bets if they're up by 10 or more at the end of the halfway through the third. He bets live money line against the team they're playing every time, and it's hit every single time.
Even against the Raptors in that game.
Yeah, where, they blew a 25-point lead.
It's hilarious.
They're a funny team. They're so unserious right now because they have no center. Because Gafford's out, I think, still. So Kuzma's been playing the 5, and it's just that's just stupid, bro.
And against the Knicks, like the most physical team in the NBA, that's not happening. So Knicks easy.
Knicks, they're gonna have they're gonna have like 70 rebounds. All right. So West Group C, another game. We got Kings Spurs at 7:30 Eastern. Yeah. I'll probably go Kings.
I'll go Kings
Fox
too.
Has been back. He's been looking good. Should be a fun matchup though between Vic and all of them. I don't know what they're gonna really throw at them. I don't know if they're gonna do a Sabonis or if you're gonna do a Harrison Barnes to start off with.
We'll see. We're kind of going with the better team every time here, but like the Spurs are also dreadful. Yeah. Like they've been worse. They're still fun.
They're the 29th ranked offense and defense right now.
Yeah, like obviously
they're number 30 in net rating by far.
Yep. They've been a fun watch, obviously.
Yeah.
Wembanyama has been very inconsistent over the last handful of games. But yeah, I'm going the Kings here. The Kings look really good. Fox is back. He's just making that thing go. So yeah. Kings.
Next one might be my upset pick. We got Celtics Raptors tonight.
Ooh.
I'm upset picking. Celtics have been playing with fire a little bit recently, and the Raptors are they just got their shit kicked in by the Bucks. So, and if you are not aware, currently Raptors every other game they will be shooting 45% from 3 the next game if they so. Scotty Barnes is gonna do wonders for me here.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I like it. I like the take. I'll play it safe. I'll go with Boston. The opposite of the Spurs, the Celtics have been number 1 in defense and number 2 in offense over the last 10 games. They just look like an elite team. I'll go with Boston.
Yeah, I can't blame you there. I just wanted to throw one in there because the rest of these games are kind of ass, low key. The next game, the other, so those 2 games that we just said were that was West Group C and East Group C.
Yes.
East Group A, we have 2 East Group A games. Pistons, Cavs, going Cavs. The Pistons are absolutely terrible, but they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch. Terrible, at least. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think they're the worst spacing team in the NBA by far. Like, I don't think it's even close.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're literally running out lineups of like 4 non-shooters.
Yeah, the Pistons, they've lost 9 straight right now. They're pretty bad. They're a hard watch. And the Cavs have gotten off to a pretty slow start to the season themselves.
Donovan Mitchell's been insane, though. I want to give it, if they had a better record, Donovan Mitchell would have been on my MVP, probably top 3 on an MVP ballot through 10 games.
Yeah.
He's giving you 29, 5 and 5 right now. And he had a few bad games that's kind of weighing it down, but he's been consistently getting those 30s recently.
Yeah. He's been great. The rest of the team, not so much, but
yeah.
I'll go with Cavs too.
All right. Sounds good. Next game, we got a lot of games tonight. Next game we got is 76ers Hawks. We talked about it earlier. Going Sixers here. Bounce back game from the Celtics loss. That was kind of a bad one. It was a really close game, and then they let them go on a late 10-point run to kind of blow the game open. So I'm gonna say we'll get a Sixers game. Maxey will probably actually never mind because they got DeJounte.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go the Hawks here, even though I think Embiid is gonna destroy the Hawks front court.
Well, the Hawks are 6-5, and you know that they have to be 500 at all times, Ryan.
Yes.
So they will be losing this game.
Oh man, you're right. I forgot about that. They're just going to be
41. They are 41-41 for the entire. I remember that was the funniest thing. Like the 7th through 10 seed was all within a game, and none of them could get over 500 for the last 3 weeks of the season last year.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the Hawks backcourt of Trae and DeJounte, even though Trae has been bad this year, I mean, it's not like the Sixers have a ton of bodies to throw at them.
And the Hawks like to play the Sixers, so that's a good pick.
They do. So I'll go with the Hawks this one.
All right, sounds good. Then we got the late night games, the West Coast games. Actually, never mind. There's an East Coast game on here that's just starting at 8 for some reason. Nuggets Pelicans, West Group B. Probably go the Nuggets here. The Pelicans' interior defense is absolute atrocious. The Nuggets do not look like they know, or not the Nuggets. I was about to say the Nuggets don't know how to play basketball together. The Pelicans have not looked like they've been able to play basketball as a 5-man unit the entire season. So I'm going to assume that we're getting a big Jokic game probably.
Probably. Yeah, I haven't enjoyed the Pelicans this year. Zion he doesn't look as explosive or dominant as he was last year. He's been cool, but not the Zion we're used to seeing. He had those really weird quotes the other day about him. He's like, I'm trying to buy in. It's like, dude, you were the number 1 overall pick, and you have barely played, and they are trying to build their franchise around you. Like, how are you not bought in? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I thought those quotes really threw me off.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Also, the Spurs Kings game is on national TV. Why? So stupid.
I don't know.
All right, next game. This is the weird Bulls Magic starting at 8 p.m. Eastern for some reason. I don't know why. Give me the Magic.
Yeah.
Magic are just better than them.
Give me the Bulls. I'm picking the Bulls.
You know what? Actually, no. Give me the Bulls. The whole team is pissed off because Paulo traveled on his game winner the other day, and they said they said in the 2 minutes report, which is always the 2-minute report is the dumbest thing in basketball, by the way. It's such a useless thing. Like, it just pisses people off. Yeah, actually, I'll give me the Bulls. Caruso's back, so he'll be playing. So
that was my entire reasoning for picking the Bulls. Is like the Magic barely won, and they won off a bucket that shouldn't have counted. So I don't know. Not also, the way you should be.
I want to give a shout out to a guy. I want to give a shout out to a guy because we're talking about the Magic quick here. Shout out Jalen Suggs. Legit been like all defensive level caliber player so far this season, and his offense he's looked so much more comfortable with the ball in his hands and off ball. So shout out Jalen Suggs.
Yes.
Next game in the season tournament, West Group A, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Lakers Trailblazers. Give me the Lakers.
Yeah. Give me the Blazers because I think it would be funny if the Blazers were to win. So
did the Blazers beat was it the Lakers that they beat last year to start off the year, and they were like with like a crazy stupid game winner maybe by like a role player? Or was that with someone else? I don't remember.
That was
who
Pacers with Andrew Nemhard. Remember that?
Oh,
was it that game? Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the one where Jeremy Grant hit that crazy fadeaway corner.
Oh, right.
I don't remember who they were playing. I don't think it was the Lakers. Maybe it was, though. I think it might have been. I know it was in Portland. Matthias would have known, but
yeah.
not here. Yeah, that's fine. I'll support the it'll be funny if they lose game. Um, Also, because the Lakers fans are way too optimistic about their shooting turning around after playing like the worst 3-point defending team in the NBA. But whatever. Another game starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. Suns Jazz today. Give me no Beal, which we didn't talk about, but Beal is out at least 3 more weeks, complete weeks, because he's back. Give me the Jazz. Lauren Marketing Masterclass incoming.
I'm going Suns. They're starting to put things together. I mean, they did just play the Wolves on a back-to-back. So
yeah,
and they did beat them by a lot. But the Suns,
if the Suns lose this game, it's going to be problematic. They'll be falling to 5-7.
Yeah, that would not be good.
No.
And the Jazz are they're just boring to watch. I don't
Shout out Keontae George though, my guy. He's been
shout out Keontae George, but I don't enjoy watching them.
No, I don't either. I'm not watching that. It's going to be a brutal game to watch. It's going to be gross.
Yeah.
Then the last game of the night is Rockets Clippers, like we talked about earlier.
Give me the Rockets, man. Give me the Rockets.
Yeah, give me the Rockets too. We're going with the let's pick. We've picked pretty much who we think is going to be a masterclass. Or I have. Who do I think of the Rockets is giving me a masterclass tonight? I'm gonna say Fred VanVleet dogs James Harden for offense, and Dillon Brooks clamps.
Yeah.
And Sengun masterclass.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Sengun puts Zubac in a blender, and the Rockets win.
Yeah, shut up. All right. Well, that concludes today's episode. I think we talked about everything. Pretty much. Hope everybody enjoys the weekend of tournament games. That you'll be watching this after tournament games. But anyways, enjoy your weekend. Subscribe, like I said at the beginning. Subscribe, like, comment down below some of your 10-game award picks if you have any. If you're watching it, appreciate anyone who made it this far into the video. And peace out.
Yes, peace.